Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. Just another review of Velocity Banking before we go to sleep, and we're just going to really emphasize that Velocity Banking is super easy, barely an inconvenience. And if you don't know what I'm nodding to, basically it's the catchphrase of a YouTube channel called Pitch Meeting right here. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. And if you've never watched Pitch Meeting, it's pretty great. Probably all of your favorite movies and TV shows have been kind of dissected by this dude Ryan George, and every time they're discussing a script regarding how's the main character going to get out of jam, he just super easy, barely an inconvenience, right? And we're going to steal that catchphrase to review velocity banking. So, what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy using lines of credit as your main tool, right? That's all it is. Okay. In order to do velocity banking, you need two things. Number one is a budget, which we already have, and I have several different budgets based on the situation at hand. I always like doing this one, this one where it's a little bit high income earning, just because it's a lot easier to kind of hone in how to increase your cash flow and use your line of credit as your main operating account. But this is if you want to do your numbers, then you make your own budget. It's so easy. All you do is write your income, expenses, leftover savings, and then all of your when you do your expense breakdown, you have to list every single debt that you have. And the whole point of this is that the more debt that we pay off, the more cash flow we get, and more cash flow equals easier debt payoff, right? And then we list our non-debt expenses, so we assume that this is always fixed and we never pay it off. We also need a line of credit as an operating account. So if you don't know what a line of credit is, all it is a financial tool. You can borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again, right? So if you have a credit card, that's a line of credit, but you also want every type of line of credit you can have, like a home equity line of credit or a personal line of credit. And the beauty of the home equity line of credit is that you can use it to pay for anything, and they give you better rates and more limits because you're offering your home equity as collateral. Anytime you offer collateral to a lender, they give you better terms, right? Better terms and rates. Okay. So what we're going to do is assume that we have a home equity line of credit available to us, $175,000. Now, just because you have a $175,000, let's say, credit card based on the value of your home, doesn't mean that this strategy is going to work for most people. Why? Because if they do it the average American way, it's not super easy. It's saying convenience. And let me tell you something. Let's say you had $1,000 emergency, right? You have $1,000 emergency, and let's say the minimum payment of this HELOC is $50. And then what's going to happen is that they have emergency here. Now they're at negative savings, right? They have a negative $49 of savings. That's no bueno, right? We don't want to do that, okay? Now, what we're going to do is kind of re-engineer our the way that we spend money so we have the same income and have zero savings, okay? This is one of the most important parts, right? Is that we emphasize same income because a lot of people think, oh, in order for me to pay off my debts, I need to make more income. More income is great, but we want to show how effective this strategy is based on your current situation without having to make more income. Now, I am definitely a fan of making more income. You always want to strive for more income, but you always want to strive to pay off debt as well. Okay, so same income, no savings. So right here we have a penny of savings. Here we're going to go the exact opposite of mainstream personal finance and go to zero savings. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just copy these expenses. Okay, let's go ahead and copy these expenses and re-engineer them. So we do velocity banking, and we're instead of savings, we're going to have something called cash flow, which is almost looks exactly the same as savings, except we're going to use our line of credit as our main operating account. Now, I'm going to give you a cheat sheet or cheat code. Anytime you have credit cards, right? Again, I'm not giving you financial advice, but this is what I would do for myself. I just if we're not in 0% interest rate periods, I'm going to move all of them into home equity line of credit. Now, some people might freak out about this. I think Susie Orman, I've seen her freak out about this because, she says, well, you're offering your home equity as collateral. No, duh. That's what collateral is. You get better rates and terms, right? But I'm okay with that because I know I'm responsible. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these 10 credit cards, $167,000, just transfer it into that home equity line of credit. Just do a simple debt transfer, right? And when we transfer all of this debt, $167,000, guess what happens here? All of these payments go away. 0, right? And now we turned a penny into $5,345 without doing anything. Look at that. That was super easy, right? Barely an inconvenience. Okay. Now, what's the super easy part? Well, the actual velocity banking strategy is you put your entire paycheck into that line of credit, and then you take your expenses out, and then the balance of that line of credit is going to go down by your cash flow plus the interest on that line of credit, right? Super easy, barely an inconvenience, right? Super easy, barely inconvenience. Sorry, Ryan, I just basically stole your tagline for another velocity banking video just to make it clickbaity. I'm just kidding. Well, I'm kind of not. But yeah, super easy, barely inconvenience, right? So what I'm going to do is going to show you the math because people still ask me, how do I do this? So to get the next month, right, in Excel, you just get the previous months and then add 1, right? And then to get the next month's balance, it's the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest, G2H2 minus our cash flow, which is 5345.84. Okay? And then after every single month, you obviously do get charged interest, but the interest is calculated by the average daily balance, multiply by 10%, and then divide by 12, right? Because 10% is the annual interest rate, and then you divide by 12 to get the monthly interest. Okay? Now, this is another aspect of the super easy, barely inconvenience. Once you just copy these formulas, you know exactly when this line of credit will be paid off. And I've done this a million times before. So you'll see that it gets paid off in 37 months, right? You see how easy that was, how super easy that was, barely an inconvenience. Oh my goodness, I could just do this all day. That's another cinematic catchphrase, right? Who says that? I can do this all day, right? Captain America. I can do this all day. Could I really do this all day? I don't know. If you paid me $1 billion, maybe, but I'll just make 1 video a day. But again, you see how easy that was? Super easy, barely an inconvenience. And then once you paid off all that credit cards, man, it's time to attack the mortgage. You could just move this mortgage into $10,000 chunks into the line of credit. In fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. Just give you a quick preview of this chunking method. So plus, we'll just say $10,000, okay? And how long does it take to pay off that $10,000? 2 months. 2 months. Super easy, barely inconvenience, right? And so now, if you're ever taking a look at a mortgage amortization schedule, let's just take a look here. Loan amortization calculator. And this is for a $300,000 home at 6%. $300,000 home for 30 years at 6%, right? How long does it take to go from 300 to 290? Take a look here. It's going to take us about, I'd say 2.5 years, right? Let's take a look. So this is going to take us 1 year. It's going to take us 2 years. Yeah, about 2 months and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 years and 5 months, so almost about 2.5 years. And then once, when we moved that $10,000 here, look, it took us 2 months to pay it off. That was easy, right? Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Thanks, Ryan George. I stole your tagline, right? Gave me an idea for another velocity banking video. But you see how easy that was? Like, don't overcomplicate it. And I actually made a video about this, how like the number one what's it called, blocker for most people with velocity banking is that they just simply overcomplicate it. But the beauty of this strategy is so easy. Paycheck into line of credit, expenses out, and then have it go down by the cash flow. Rinse and repeat over and over again. So easy. All right, well, that's it for today. Just another simple velocity banking review. Have a great night, everybody, and we will speak next time.